Hey everybody, Carl here with Karen, and we are talking about Biz Dev Done Right. We're super excited about our book. It's printed, the launch is on its way, and we wanted to talk a little bit about why we wrote the book. How all this started a couple of years ago. Kind of started by accident in a way when we were talking, right?
2 years ago, we were sitting in the conference room and we're having this conversation about all of our business owner friends. And they're having these problems with business development. How do they get more sales? How do they capture all of these opportunities? And as Carl and I were talking, it seems to be one after the next is making a wrong turn. And we're sitting there saying, if we only were able to tell them, do it this way, not that way, and you'll get 5 more sales. But we couldn't, so we decided to write Biz Dev Done Right.
Hey, why don't we write a book about this, So be careful what you say and what you ask for, because, you end up having to do it, right? But it was, we're incredibly proud about the book. It's a great book. There's awesome information in this. And like you said, it's not like the 10 steps to this or the 7 steps to that. It's more about the blind spots and covering where people have gotten wrong. Right.
And we don't hold anything back in this book. It's not the kind of book where we give you a little teaser and then you have to call us. This is the book where if you want the answers, they're right there.
Right, so it's a deep dive. We have, how many chapters do we have in here?
12 chapters.
12 chapters. That was our format. I can't believe we actually stuck to the format. That's
Knowing the two of us.
Yeah, I know. Is that
we have
right?
so much to say.
Right, and we thought, and as a matter of fact, when we first started the book, we thought it was, in the technical term, we thought it was going to be 40,000 words, right? But it ended up being well over 60,000. So it was 50% more than we thought it was going to be, because we just kept saying, we should add this in, that part should go in.
There's something else they need to know. This is really important.
Because we've watched so many people finish 1 second before the finish line. We've sat in on presentations where our friends and colleagues were like, well, we were doing this, and it's, it wasn't working. And you and I were sitting in the audience saying, you were so close. You're 1 step in the finish line.
Everything was working. If you let it go 3 more months, you would have had $30 million more. But they cut it off because they just didn't know what was in the book.
Right. And they didn't know that they were actually getting it right, even though the results weren't immediate. There was a lag time. I tried this, and I'm sitting there saying, oh my God, it was working. It's working. Please don't. And the punchline came, well, we cut that marketing program off, or we fired that salesperson, or we retracted our team. And I just thought, oh my God. It's so close to the finish line.
So close, and then all those missed opportunities, and it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah, because sales is an interesting thing. All business development is very interesting, because even though there's instant gratification from the standpoint of you take a certain action and you get a result, the sales process overall is not instant gratification. If you're a sales producer, you have to have patience. There needs to be a process, and you put some things into play, but then there's that dark, quiet period, right?
Right.
Between the appointment and the time you meet, and between the time you send out the marketing campaign and you get the result, where there's all this uncertainty and doubt. Have we actually done the right thing? Are we on the right track? And
people think that time period means there's nothing happening and that there are no results, when in fact those relationships with these prospects are percolating. That's what we like to call it. They're percolating, and they need to be massaged and carried out to the finish line, because those people who don't carry them to the finish line pave the way for their competition to come in and get those sales.
Right. The whole analogy of the bottle where you can't get the cap off. You're the one that loosened the cap, and somebody else comes in and just says, "Flick, wow, that was easy. Aren't I good at business development?"
Right.
But the last dingleberry went ahead and did all that work, but didn't follow through, and somebody else came in and didn't stay with it and swept up the sale.
Right. And we just don't like to see that happen to our friends, and so we wrote this book to give you all the information you need to not make those same mistakes.
Yeah, and it's painful to watch, because it's
painful.
And with all fairness to the person who's executing or not executing, it's hard to be inside the picture and see what's going on. Whereas we have the unique perspective of being able to watch it, and we can see the whole thing going on, and we say, wait a minute, we can see that they're responding and you're doing the right work.
Right.
But since you're in it, what do they say? You can't read the label if you're in the jar, right? So you're in the jar, you're trying to figure out, is all this money and investment and time and effort worthwhile? We can actually see that it is from our perspective, but you can't always see it from yours.
Right.
So that was the genesis of the book.
Right. And so 2 years later, there it is, and waiting for everybody to read it.